the space where minds collide. Annie and Kerrie gonna be your guide. Psychic wonders and spiritual delight will unveil the mysteries in the light. Tune your senses, sharpen your mind. Feel the energy, let your soul unwind. Tarot cards and angels' wings. Sound healing makes your spirit sing. Mind, body, soul connection strong. Find your peace where you belong. Meditate, elevate, discover ways to brighten up your darkest days. Energy flowing through your veins. Unlock your power, break the chains. With Annie and Kerrie on this ride, discover the universe inside. Healing words in crystal glow, guiding through the ebb and flow. Feel the love that we impart. Awaken the magic in your heart. Mind, body, soul connection strong. Find your peace where you belong. Meditate, elevate, discover ways to brighten up your darkest days. Mind, body, soul connection strong. Find your peace where you belong. Meditate, elevate, discover ways to brighten up your darkest days.
Hello. Hi, Annie. But a huge, huge big welcome to James and Shanay tonight.
Hello.
We're super excited to have you. Well, everyone was a bit disappointed when the cyclone hit and we postponed. I was like, oh, we're looking forward to it. So thank you so much for getting things out of schedule and being able to join us tonight. We really appreciate it. Awesome.
We're so excited to be here.
And I hope everyone had a good equinox, an enjoyable equinox. Hi, Soph. Hello, Rochelle. Hi, Veronica. Lovely to see everyone jumping in. So I am going to do an introduction of James and Shanay to everyone. I'm super excited about doing that. But as we always do, we like to connect everyone's energy in the beginning. And our beautiful Annie is going to take us through just a short meditation together. Hi, Ray.
Okay, we may give it people. We've only got half a dozen people on. We might give people a couple of seconds to kind of get themselves together and get themselves on. So if you are with us, please get yourself into a nice, comfortable position. Feet on the floor. Close your little eyes. Big, deep breath in. As you breathe out, feel your body relaxing. Let everything go and your muscles all become soft. Drop your shoulders, relax your face. If you need to wobble your neck around till you find a comfortable position, get all the creaks out of it. Lean into the chair that we're on and breathe again. In and out, relax. There's nowhere you need to be, nothing you need to do, exactly where you're meant to be. Imagine yourself walking towards a path that leads to a forest. Walk down the forest, down through the path. Sun sparkling through the trees. There's a gentle breeze. Wildflowers are all around you. Butterflies are flying. Dragonflies are abounding. And little birds are sitting in the treetops. You keep wandering down the path. And as you go around a bend, there's a clearing. When you reach the clearing, pause. In front of you are two paths. There's a path that leads to the left and a path that leads to the right. Breathe, tap into your intuition, and let your energy pull you gently towards the path you should be on. Continue to walk down your path. The sun is still glimmering. It looks like glitter. Everything is brighter and lighter and shiny. There are colors you've never seen before. Beautiful aquas, glorious pinks. The flowers are a bed like a carpet on the floor. Enjoy this beautiful walk as you meander slowly, stopping to smell the flowers and touch the trees. Continue down the path, and all of a sudden, there's another clearing. Stop again, pause, and breathe. There are now three paths you can choose. One going straight ahead, one to the left, and one to the right. Breathe, tap into your intuition, and follow the path that your energy pulls you to. Continue down the path. In front of you, there's a beautiful golden light. As you continue walking, the trees are clearing. It's becoming sparser. The light is glowing stronger. Continue your walk until you come out into a beautiful space. The path has led you to the exact place that you are meant to be at this time. Sit down, have a look around, see what is with you, see where you are, feel the energy. Ask your guides and angels, family or friends, to come sit with you. Take notice of everything. The feel of the ground beneath you, the smells around you, the gentle breeze. Notice where you are. It's perfect. I'll leave you there and come back for you shortly. It's time to leave your beautiful sacred space. Thank whoever is with you. Take one final breath and come back along the path that led you to there. Walk along the path till you get to it. Continue down your path until you get to the second tree. Gently walk back till you feel yourself coming back to this space. Be aware of your body on the chair. Be aware of your feet on the floor. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. And when you are ready, open your eyes. Welcome back, everybody.
Thank you, Annie.
Did anybody get confused about the paths? I was thinking there's people going to say, I don't know which way to go.
All paths lead to your correct space.
That's
That is
right.
the answer. There is no wrong answer.
Let the energy take you. Okay, Miss Kerrie, do you want to introduce?
I certainly do. I certainly do. So I'm so excited tonight to introduce both Shanay and James. And in the interest of transparency, because, you know, it's all about family, isn't it? And everyone here is family, which is what's beautiful, whether that's blood related or not. James is my nephew, so my sister's son. So it's lovely to have my nephew joining me tonight for this journey. James, growing up, had to put up with both his mother and I teaching him all things spiritual. I think he had a collection of crystals when he was like 3 years old. And came with us to spiritual church. Would that be right, James?
It was right. Correct.
And he was also one of our key singers at the Christmas Mass where we just sang.
Not sure about key, but
yeah, he got up there and did it. So it was just beautiful. So it's just lovely to have him here tonight. And then, of course, the beautiful Shanay, right, his fiance. So I can say that now, can't I? That's all official. Am I going to get in trouble? And so I've known Shanay now for a few years, and she's such a beautiful person. Some of you may well know both James and Shanay if you came along and did the first group of Pellowah training with us here in Brisbane. Both Shanay and James are there, and they've incorporated Pellowah, I know, into their practice along with Reiki and Breathwork. And I have found their story so inspiring. I love catching up with them. They're not always in town. They're always off doing some incredible adventures, and I'm sure we'll hear about that as part of their journey tonight. So I personally find it really, really inspiring, and I'm super happy to have you both here with us tonight. So welcome.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So what we might do is just ask you, just very generally, would you just like to share your journey with us? What brought you, where you were, what brought you to where you are right now? And I know you've got a lot of visions and inspiration for the creativity and the work you want to do into the future. So we just really want to open it up to you, whatever you would like to share about that journey. And then if you don't mind, we'll ask some questions and things along the way, and I'm sure everyone in chat will as well.
Well, it depends how much time you guys have.
Yeah.
Darling, just talk.
Just talk.
Well, I'll make a start on my journey because it's been a bit of a ride actually, because a lot of my journey wasn't spiritual in nature to begin with. Definitely what kind of kick-started that I dare say, would be my mother's passing in 2014. And then like the resistance against myself throughout that period, and then again in 2017, when my partner at the time cheated on me as well. So like again, like the resistance with the feminine, and it was like some really challenging times to work through. And then from there, basically, so I was someone that never explored alcohol, drugs, like anything like that. And then I went through a bit of a challenging time after that period, and then kind of, believe it or not, like through psychedelics and that kind of thing, I like it somehow mirrored a part of myself that I wasn't aware of before. And yeah, then that was my access point to like a deeper part of myself. And then I met Shanay at one of those festivals as well, and then we've just kind of been on this personal development journey together ever since, really. So yeah, it started off pretty grim, really, but then and then we like kind of held each other through those times.
I think sometimes you've got to go through that. I think everybody who's in this space has got a story that you've got to have done the hard yards to clear and come out the other end. And it's the coming out the other end that you have done that's the important bit, James, because you can choose to stay stuck, or you can take that lesson and learn from it, and look where it's got you.
Yeah, exactly. And just like having that open mind as well definitely helped from my childhood as well. And then like as the pages keep turning, it's just like if anything, I feel closer to my mother now than I did when she was here. And like that's a really beautiful realization to make as well. And yeah, I'm so like blessed to have all of those challenging things happen to me, because it's made me into the man that I am today.
That's wonderful, because you could have went the other way, you know, like with
it was a close one. Yeah.
Well, you were so young when that happened to you, which is a really difficult time of your life for that loss to occur. And really, it was only you and your mum. You know, I know you've got your brothers and sisters, but like that connection to Kathy, and you know, there's a choice there that the abandonment can put up walls.
Exactly.
And that's another, like, it's a choice. And you instead, especially the second time, because you got abandoned twice in a row, first by your mama and then by that lady that did that to you, you know. And I think sometimes people can drop into victim mode when that stuff happens, but you rose above that and chose a different path. That's like my paths in the forest. You got to that clearing and you thought, I can keep going down this road, or I can choose this one. And bless you for choosing the right one. Just because that's, especially at your age, it's a difficult, it's easier to take the path of least resistance. Does that make sense? And you chose to do that. You chose to stand strong, and you should be very, very proud of yourself for that.
Yeah,
you
I think
you don't just take a box and say, well, I moved on. There's a whole shitload of work went in to get you from that point to this point, and all of that mess in the middle. And of course, you had the beautiful Shanay supporting you through that. And that's also really important, you know, and that's another blessing. So when you flipped it, your life, your journey flipped with you. The energy went to where you needed it to be. And look at you now. You're engaged to this glorious young woman. You're doing Pellowah and you're doing all this stuff. So what's your, Shanay, what's your little story, my darling?
I always find this question so interesting, because I feel like as you continue growing, it continues like the circles continue to come full circle and you have deeper understanding to those parts of your journey. But I was always a very sensitive child and could always see as a child, and I shut all that off, went through school, graduating, university, and went into my degree, and I was navigating times of being a student, nurse, and paramedic. And all of my gifts that I had as a child turned back online, and I didn't know how to navigate it. So that being sight and being able to see and hear spirit, and I could feel when patients were going to pass through. And I was like so deep in the westernized system because I wanted to help people and be a part of the supporting people on their healing journey, that I then felt really stuck within navigating how there was a lot of separation from this connection to spirit and the earth. And I couldn't, like, it was so real. I couldn't ignore it anymore. So I went through this process where I then left my job after graduating and becoming a nurse and following that career as a nurse and paramedic. And I quit because it was such a clear message that I needed to. And I got no reason why besides trust yourself. Like kind of like what Annie's explaining, there was that open space and there's many paths. And I was like, what path's going to be right or wrong? But I just trusted in the body and listened to that. And there was processes within my time being a student that I would call nearly like that dark night of the soul that really woke me up to parts of myself and this connection and how to come back and return home to my heart and what that actually meant and what that felt like, and de-armoring, which opened up this whole field of realizing how many of us are probably on this journey of homecoming, coming back to the heart, which is coming back to the earth, which was a whole nother deeper part of what we're doing now with focusing and following this path of our hearts and where it calls us. So our mission or our vision, and that's the work that we are both doing now. So definitely some really major jumps and leaps and a lot of uncomfortability as well, and feeling a bit separated and nearly kind of like, not feeling like I could fit into the society that I studied to be in and not knowing where my place was. So it's been a big part of kind of like finding who I am and who am I and who are we and why did we come here and what did we come here to do and be. So that's where we are now, and we're still exploring that and learning every step of the way.
So what's your vision for the future, James? What's because you said you've got all these plans for what you're going to be doing moving forward. So what's next for you?
So we've developed a bit of not a bit of a retreat, but we've developed a retreat. We're going to Peru in July. So like that's, it's definitely a huge step for us. Neither of us have done like hosting of events or anything like that, like in regards to like overseas events and things like that. So it was, like it was a bit of an edge for us, but I'm glad we leaned into it as well. And it's it's been a journey already, and we haven't even got into Peru yet. So.
Yeah. And James and Shanay, either one of you, this is also coming out of your own, well, I don't want to call it a pilgrimage, but a journey of discovery that you both went on yourselves last year. And so it's come out of that, hasn't it? And now wanting to open that up to as many people as possible. Do you want to share a little bit about that journey? Because it was just so incredible.
We both went, how do I even explain that journey? We didn't know, we had a one-way ticket. We went to the Amazon and spent time with the Yawanawa tribe. And that was because for me, I had a dream that I had to go, and I told James, and I woke up and said, I'm having these dreams, we've got to go. And I don't know why. Please trust me. So then we both developed trust within that space, and we went. It was incredible. Spending time with that tribe and the elders and the leaders and the families just blew our minds on what community really means and what this, like the simplicity of living and what truly matters and how happy they are. And they just hold this prayer of joy and community and everything. So that ignited something within us of like, there's so much medicine in this. It's in the community and the circle and returning to this and returning to one another.
And so simple as well.
So simple.
I think we overcomplicated a lot in our society.
Yes.
You know, just like the basics of singing, dancing, and good food, really. Like it's just, it's so simple, but it just works for them, you know?
Yeah.
Every Indigenous people in the world do that. Like they've got this. We're all stupid. We make
Yeah.
things difficult. And it's
Mm.
one of my tenets. None of this stuff is difficult. It doesn't cost you any money. It's free. It's good for you.
Yeah.
And don't make it difficult. It's not. It's just a way of life, and you just
Mhm.
live it.
Yeah.
So how long did you spend in the Amazon?
That time was 12 days. We're in hammocks. Yeah, so that was it was a 10-hour car ride on a very not highway on a crazy dirt road, and then a 5-hour boat ride in this tiny little canoe with a big motor on the back. It's like not a boat. You think it's a boat. It's like a canoe with a motor. And that's where we ended up. We were there for 12 days. And then from there we went to Peru and spent time in Sacred Valley, which is within all the Apus and the Andean mountains. And we thought we'd be there for a week, and we didn't leave there for months. I was there for 5 months in the end, or 6 months, and I think James was a bit
4. Yeah, about 4.
Yeah.
So what did you do while you were there? This is fascinating. Talk to
It
me.
is. It really is. I know.
Well, because the exchange rate is like a quarter of our dollar, so pretty much everything you could get for such good value. So like you could do like I heard you mentioning before, Annie, about qigong. I think you called it qigong. I'm not sure what's correct, if it's qigong or qigong. But like classes like that only cost like $5 Australian. Put it that way. So we could study so much and integrate so much from our jungle experience, and just come back to the basics as well. Like I felt it was a really beautiful time because like we had not a lot to do, and I was like studying a little bit and like building fires and that kind of thing. Like just coming back to the basics of like the elements, if you know what I mean.
Connecting to the land, studying with the land, and studying with what was calling us, like what parts were calling us, what teachings were calling us, and just opening our minds and hearts to how much we don't know. Like the more that we've leaned in, the more we were like, there's so much here, and building our own relationships with the elements and the land and culture, and what that means for our remembrance within that connection and culture too. And yeah,
and it was beautiful following where you're being called by the energy through that process, and trusting that innate instinct as to what you're meant to follow and where you're meant to be. I think that's what's so inspiring too about the story, is that you were able to be flexible enough to link into the flow of energy and move where that wanted you to go to.
What language do they speak in Peru?
Mainly Spanish.
And do either of you speak Spanish?
No.
That would be fun.
5 words, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I spent time back in the Amazon on the Peruvian side as well. So I spent time with the Caniber tribe with different elders there, and spent time in a 3-week silent diet, which means I was in silence in my own little spot for 3 weeks and experiencing these ceremonies. And even the languages that they use is so beautiful, how they're in like such different parts of the Amazon. The languages are so different. The cultures, their practices are so different, yet there's so many threads still connecting, and there's still this beautiful pulse of the connection to song, and song being such medicine, and the connection into listening and working with the plants as well. And they don't speak Spanish. So for us as well, learning, there were so many languages that we needed to learn. So we're just going to trust the process. And we're very lucky we've got technology and can Google Translate as well.
Yeah.
That helps.
Yeah, that definitely helps. That definitely helps. Because it just seems like I know when you first came back from the trip, and I remember, James, you came back a little bit earlier. Shanay was called to stay to do that additional. You did the silence on your own bit then, didn't you, Shanay?
Yeah.
And listening to James when he came back about really understanding the connection to Mother Earth through that story, and listening to how inspiring that was to understand really how simple life was meant to be and how overcomplicated we've made it. And then for you to stay there was also you got to meet several shamans through that journey. That's correct, isn't it? Do you want to share a little bit about what that was like?
I'll let you answer that one.
It's such an honor to be able to connect with the leaders and the elders of the tribes and the different medicine men and women and their practices, and for them to be so open within their heart to share with such devotion to community. Like there's something that one of the chief of one of the tribes and the shaman as well, it was the chief and the shaman of the tribe, shared with us, was like, every home here is your home. Like, we are here, we open our arms to you, and we want to make sure that you feel as safe and as comfortable as possible, and you are family. And like, we both got quite emotional, because I was like, wow, like to hear that, like we are white, and we, have done, there's processes within colonization that are hard to process, and to know that they are so open and their hearts are so open to just be able to hold community no matter what we've went through in history, just was really inspiring and quite cracking for in a way for us as well, like within our perspective of how beautiful and how much they remain in truth and within love and in community. And then their practices and the experiences of receiving their medicine and their songs, and how they use song as such a tool, it's a technology on its own, which is it's a technology that the earth has always known, but we've kind of forgotten and disconnected from voice in these practices. So the teachings are really reminding us to return back to these ancient ways and return back to these ways of the earth and these ways of community and listening and really deep listening.
Yeah. And like, I know going back a little while ago, the business name that you were under was Sacred Medicine, because it was really connecting, and there was a great deal of focus on back to the heart space, following the heart space, the heart connection, that side of things. And just recently you're evolving now a little bit, and you're talking about the new name, as in NEW, a new name, New Earth with a K, KNEW. And I did get, I'm going to dob in Nate here. I don't know that he's online tonight. He might be at choir. That Nate said to me, Kerrie, I know you're in the middle of a cyclone, but you've misspelt new. I went, no, I haven't. Do you want to explain how you came up with that idea?
So a massive teaching that we noticed on our travels and being somewhere like Peru, so such a hub for spirituality, was how there's a lot of hype with this new age spirituality, and nearly like a bit of fluffiness disconnecting from how this new connection is actually so ancient we're remembering. And like medicine was all about remembering who we are and why we came here, remembering our connection to earth, returning, to the sacred union of the masculine and the feminine, and this beautiful dance that we get to co-create here on earth. So the K is what earth has always known. Earth always knew these ways, and we're remembering them, and we also knew these ways. It's what we were taught when we were born into the society and the collective that we are, and we're nearly relearning and re-remembering what we've always known. So it's a play on words, and also kind of reminding, as we do step into this golden age and this shift in consciousness, which is happening, we can feel it, but that shift is this deep rooted connection to the remembering of returning back to the ancients and returning back to our connection with spirit and our connection to our hearts and one another.
So what are you going to do when you go over there in July?
With the retreat or our own travels?
No, with the retreat.
Yeah.
Are you running a retreat?
Correct.
Yeah.
With people from Australia?
And other parts of the world. But mainly Australia.
So they're all going to meet you over there?
Yeah.
So what you going to do?
So it's going for 12 days.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and we're spending time in Sacred Valley in the hub, which is in between all the Andean mountains and the Greater Poos. It feels like you're being calibrated by all the mountains there. It's like you're in the middle of this massive crystal sound bowl healing. So the energy there is so powerful and beautiful on its own. And we'll be spending time going through different energy practices and workshops and learning from the locals and some really beautiful brothers and sisters that we've connected with that have grown up there their whole lives. And then we'll also be spending time at some sacred sites and going for walks, being led by, again, some of the locals as they share their story and what's been passed down to them, whatever feels true for them. And we'll be going and checking out the condos. We'll be working and connecting with different
Sweat Lodge.
the sweat lodge working. That's going to be beautiful. So connecting to room consciousness, which is more of a North American tradition, but this man has really built his relationship in Peru, and he has a lot of wisdom, and it's a big part of what we share. It's like there is a lot no matter where we are, there's so much culture, and when we're honoring the land, we're honoring all traditions and honoring one another, because we all have a different lineage and a different story. So like sharing story and sharing that connection on those lands as well, that held us so beautifully, and many people, and giving back, because reciprocity is so huge there. So we really want to give back to the community that gave so much to us with creating a safe, like nearly like supporting a safe passage to go there, because sometimes traveling somewhere like South America can have a lot of fear around it, and some people don't feel safe. So we have a lot of solo travelers in our retreat. And then we're going to Azangante, which is a big mountain in Peru. It's beautiful and super special place. It changed our lives. I feel that's where James proposed. It was very special to us there.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, after you had spent 5 Siri's annoying me, go away, mind your business. After you had spent 5 months in Peru, how did you feel when you came back? What was it like coming back to this, the whole Western basically bullshit? Sorry, but I mean, how did you transition? How did you deal with that?
Yeah, it was really strange. Like at the coffee shop, I was saying like gracias and stuff like that, and then I'm like, oh shit, I'm not in Peru. But to answer your question, it was actually really challenging. I went straight back into a corporate style role as well, and it was really hard. Like, and particularly the role that I went in was very, how do I put it, like high intensity. With like managers and stuff, like constantly like micromanaging and stuff like that, and everything's fast paced and no one really listens fully to you. And we lived a very, very slow life in Peru. Like it was just everything was just super present and super slow, and like the customer service at the places that we went to like was very like engaging and that kind of thing. To then come back to Australia, obviously the people here are beautiful, but at the same time, everyone's sorry, I shouldn't say everyone, but like especially in the corporate world, like people just want stuff done like immediately, and like the culture is just I definitely felt weight on my shoulders, and like it's really hard because like corporate for me, like that's where my skill set is. I don't have a skill set within like being like a handyman or anything like that. So it's been a bit challenging from like a financial perspective as well, trying to find like a new career. But I've landed on support work, which feels really true for me because I can work like one-on-one with within the disability space. And it like fills my heart up as well. And then, and it's like easier to transition from that to like counseling, which is what I'm trying to get into now. So it's been the journey.
It's not called busyness for nothing. I'm always like, I've been playing with this stuff for 60 years, basically. I've been playing in this field, you know, and there's been times where, when I was a single mom, I had 2 kids that wanted fed and they wanted a house. And when all that busyness in business sneaks in, I was always like management or upper management, and Kerrie was the same. And when that happens, that busyness disconnects you because you're so grounded in trying to feed the kids and get them to school and do your job, and you're permanently flickering exhausted, and we're permanently on the run, you know, and it's when you were saying it's a slower pace of life, my feeling that I was getting around it is that it's a gentler pace of life where you can honor your body, and if you need a nana nap, you can have one, and it's much more go with the flow rather than this tung, 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 tung.
Yeah.
How did you cope, Shanay? Look at that face. Oh my God, it was terrible.
I felt like a newborn baby being like born
Mm.
into a world that was really loud again.
Mm.
Like especially because I spent a lot of time in silence. So after James left, we were in separate parts of the world for 3 months. So I was in my silent time in the diet, which was so transformational. I've never experienced anything like that. And then I was integrating in Peru in a lot of softness and gentleness and spaciousness to then come back, and we've been landing and integrating it back with my beautiful family in a room, and we're sharing a room together. It's just so different though, because we are in the suburbs and we are in that busier space and it's louder. And even sensitivity wise with my gifts, I've struggled. I just feel like very sensitive energetically, and I've had to be a lot more discerning with my energy, and I'm naturally an introvert, so creating that time to fill my cup. And it took me a while to land. I felt very raw and very tender. Yeah.
Because that's a really difficult thing when you go from that easy peasy, gentle. And I mean, I'm sure there were some times when it was a bit scary, you know, like you're in the middle of bloody Peru and you don't speak the language, and there would have been stuff that kind of went down. But to go from that gentle lifestyle back into it's like landing on the moon. Chaos. When you come back, there's cars and there's people everywhere and they want stuff yesterday. And I just wondered how long it took you to kind of settle.
Yeah.
I don't think you've settled. I think you're just desperate to get away again.
Well, and at the same time, like I feel like we've integrated and shifted a lot now. Like I feel a lot more grounded and connected now. It just took us a bit. And also like the biggest part I think for myself was like I felt like so much shifted in my inner world. And then I've came back to, you know, lives and relationships that I haven't probably as I was disconnected from my phone over there. So I hadn't really tended to these new changes within myself whilst relating to the way that, you know, my childhood room was, and then the same with different relationships. So the integration piece is so important. And that came with time, being in your truth, being vulnerable, allowing yourself to take the time that you need in those baby steps to be in the space, like what Nate said, to truly really allow yourself to be able to find that inner sanctuary no matter your environment, and to be in space, which I feel like we've landed in. And I love Australia. Like Australia is always going to be home. And I know that within myself. And I know that I think James feels the same way.
Yeah, like I think it's important to feel the resistance and then connect in with yourself and then make a decision, which is exactly what I did. Like it took me a long time. Like it took me 4 months to leave my corporate role, and I'm like, no, I need to leave, even though like the money like was a lot better than what I can earn as a support worker. But now that I've done it, it just kind of works, and the money's only probably only like $100 difference per week. So I don't know if I was getting so caught up on.
A lot of that is also about following your purpose.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, and coming to a realization of what that purpose is. For those who missed it or it was too small on the screen, what Nate had said was the magic is being able to live that reality in the everyday. When you are present and unattached, you can be in a boardroom, at the beach, or anywhere else. We allow outside influences to shut us down, but our default state is to be open. And I think that's correct. But I think there's also more to it than that. And I just want to touch on something else that you said. And I totally agree with what you're saying, Nate. But I also think for want of a better word, modern world, right, is filled with noise. And I just want to go back to that, right? So not only is it filled with peripheral noise, traffic, things going on, industry going on, planes flying over, you know, like it's all residual white noise, but it's always there in the background. And sound is vibrational and has an energy to it, right? Which can be very grating on people, that sometimes you just need to separate yourself from that and rebalance your energy away from that rather than integrate it. Then we've got it on other levels. We've got 5G, we've got 4G, we've got, all these other, just because you can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Of course it exists, or we wouldn't be online tonight, right? So it exists, it's in the airwaves. So you're getting all these other vibrations in. With a trip like the one that you did, and I think you mentioned this, Shanay, was when you're in those mountains, the mountains themselves have their own vibrational sound, right? And it's like being in a sound healing bowl, being in those mountains. And I think sometimes modern society has moved so far away from that natural state of being. And I bring it back to the bells as well. Like every single town, and you could call it a church bell, a steeple, whatever, but they had their bells, and each of those bells were particular frequencies. And we know now that those frequencies are healing frequencies. And when you're resonating that out across a community, across a small town, they used to ring them in the morning and they used to ring them in the evening, right? So there's different times of the day. That resonance would actually rebalance humanity and the earth space as well. And I think that hasn't been lost through voice, through other things that you're experiencing in those mountains. So that readjustment, I think, can be, yes, we've got to get back to this corporate life and learn how to integrate that, but it can also be a recognition of just how far we are removed from those natural healing nature vibrations, sounds and noises that we really should be surrounded by.
Yes.
I think too what Nate said about the default state is to be open. Like what Shanay was speaking of earlier around when she was paramedic, which is it's a really difficult course to get into. And it's a really difficult course. Like paramedics have to be, you're virtually doctors on wheels. And when you are so open to the energy of others, I think there's times you have to shut it down.
Yeah.
Because you just, like, I was a community worker for 45 years. And I used to look at people and think, don't go there, don't do it. Because there's times where, for your own sanity, I think, and protection, you have to just, you just can't engage with it all the time. And like when you're on stage, when you're doing your thing, then it's all jazz hands and smiles. But that space of silence when you're done is so important. You said it perfectly. You said you had to refill your cup. Because there are times, I know the energy of the universe it's like it's infinite, but there are times when the noise and the white noise and the chatter just gets to the point where it just sucks the life out of you. And that personal space and that silence or the music is what brings you back into that heart space, which is so important, And what you said, James, moving from corporate space. I worked at TAFE and they put me in the business team. I can't even type, but there was issues over there. So they put me over there and they sent me to talk to the legal team because they had integrated a communications unit. And I was talking to this barrister in this team and I said to him, okay, like we need to talk about interpersonal relationships. And he went, we don't do that. And I said, well, it's a unit, so you're going to have to teach your students how to do it. And he went, And I said, well, it's like about body language. When your client walks through the door, you can see how they're feeling and sense how they're feeling by how they look. And he went, no. And I said to him, no, it's a community services thing. I said, you see somebody walking through the door and you just go wing, ding, ka-ching, here comes the money, because they bill by the minute. And he went, can I use that? And that's the corporate space. It's all about the bottom line, and it's all about the money and the gain, and the get, and the power and the control and the rising up the ladder. And where you stepped out of that and then back, you're in community now.
Yeah.
That's heart space.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So and we're all here to serve, and it doesn't matter how you do it. You can do it in Coles, you can do it in Woolworths, you can do it anywhere.
Anywhere, it's how you serve.
It's
Yeah.
how you serve and how you treat the people that you're working with. But I do feel it's much easier to do it when you're working from your heart and not when you have to be working like a slave to the money and the business and all that kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
You can be anywhere your focus resonates because your frequency aligns with where your attention flows.
Yeah.
It's tricky but definitely doable.
Mhm.
Get off your mobile phone, disconnect to connect. I agree with that completely.
Breathe
Breathe
slow,
slow,
conscious
conscious
breath.
breath. Step outside, feel the sun or wind on your skin. Place your hand in your heart and tune into your own rhythm. That's really, really important, Nate,
Yeah.
because that's that where you can step out of that busyness and step back into heart space. But sometimes when you're like with James in that corporate world, you don't have, like, if they're paying you 200,000 a year, they own your body and soul.
Yeah. It's auric space, right? It's harder to get auric space in that environment.
Kerrie and I were both getting phone calls at 6 o'clock in the morning and 11 o'clock at night.
Just and then jumping on a plane in between, to fly from place to place. It was pretty crazy.
So what Nate says about that is really important, that you take that step back.
It really is. And I think we talk about this a lot. And we've done, different topics on this sort of thing, being in the moment and learning how to be present and be in the moment, because our thoughts race as well. Learning to actually listen, and you're saying, James, no one listens, right? That's right.
Yeah.
It's a busy thing about the next thing, and I think that's very right. And learning how to just be in the moment, be present, but also the need for self-care, and that self-care is not a selfish thing. In fact, it's essential, right? Because your heart won't lead you astray. That knowing within won't lead you astray. Yeah.
So, and go on.
I was just going to ask you, I know you're going to Peru and you're doing your retreat, but then you said you were going to the UK. Where are you going?
When?
Where?
We're just still figuring it out. It's just been quite a strong dream that's came through recently. I've always asked dreams to guide us and myself with wherever we're meant to be going, and we thought we were going to be going to Central America. It became really, really clear that we want to connect quite deeper into our why and our lineage. For myself, I'm feeling really cool to connect into Ireland, Scotland, because that's where a lot of my ancestors have came from, and the depth of connection that the communities in Peru that we met and in the Amazon, that connection to their ancestors inspired us so much to connect into our ancestors on a collective level, our common ancestors, the elements, the directions, but then also made me really curious of my bloodline and the women in my line, and those are maybe the practices that I haven't even been open to or explored yet, because I don't know, because I feel like I haven't been exposed. So connecting to the land, just tuning in and listening and letting the land guide us is pretty much the plan. So it's going to be a one-way ticket situation again. I know I want to go into silence.
I love that. I love it.
Yeah, I would love to go into silence in Ireland and just spend time on the land and just listen. I feel like that's coming back to what we're saying. That's where I've learned the most and where I've studied the most, is when I've been in silence with nothing, maybe a journal, or if the journal at the end, and just listening and allowing myself to journey into this inner realm and the inner thoughts, and noticing what is truth to me, what is mine and what is not, and how can I find more inner peace within. And then we get to share our experiences and build and grow within that space as we come out of the silence too.
Go to the south of Ireland. Go south. South of Ireland. Killarney, Galway. Go that way. It's a much gentler space than Northern Ireland. There's beautiful places in both. But Galway, Killarney, all around the coastline around there. And there's a very special energy in Scotland. There's some really special places. Skye. If you can drive to Skye now, go to Skye. Go and see the fairy pools. The fairy flag.
I feel like we have no idea we don't know names of even. We know nothing. We're actually very.
use the divination rods as a GPS. I can highly recommend it, and just go wherever direction they tell you to go in. It works really, really well. Colleen and I can vouch for that one, and it worked for me on the equinox too. So can definitely vouch for that. Shanay, I know we're sort of probably coming up to an hour, but I did want to touch on this because I'm always been fascinated. Like, I get to see your short clips, etc., on sacred medicine, which is, by the way, guys, Instagram and Facebook, sacred medicine. You haven't changed that name yet, have you?
Oh no, we have changed.
Oh, you have changed it, so it's now New Earth on there too. Okay.
New.earth.
New.earth. Okay, so now on Facebook. But you've also done a lot of work with divine feminine connection as well, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to share a little bit of what you've done through that journey?
Mm-hmm. In what way?
Or just what you're doing with clients. What is the connection that you've been bringing for that?
Mm-hmm. I feel like I've been translating different laws and principles that I've been hearing and studying myself through listening, through different connections and different frequencies. So the divine feminine, but also the sacred, and the difference of the sacred and the earth and the divine and these frequencies of the stars, and how they can bring us deeper into our own inner listening. So that has been more from my own journey in connecting, but what I support the community that we and clients that we work with is in regards to their sovereign codes. So like, who are they, and what's their radical authority, and what's their calling, and what's their connection, and building our own relationships, our sovereign relationships with the earth, with ourselves, with the elements, with our guides, with also the path that we're walking, and with also our businesses or our purpose, and allowing ourselves to know we don't necessarily need to feel separate from that. And how can we build more of a sovereign connection and reclaim sovereignty and find who we are and return to our authenticity and our truth. So that can be through rewilding ceremonies and different practices, that's energetic practices, but then also returning back to like our own sovereign connection and what's our story and who are we and why are we here today, and what sets our souls alive, and are we bringing that into our life, or why are we not? So it's quite broad, but it's really recalibrating to our inner compass through connecting to the divine and the sacred, but also the polarity of like our light and our shadow, and how not one's negative or positive. It's just this dance of really returning back into wholeness, because all of us is welcome. And we were never broken, and we never needed fixing, returning back to our hearts and who we are. So
yeah. So beautiful. I think like your whole journey for both of you has been so inspiring to watch. I've been in the privileged spot of sort of watching this journey with you both, and being able to sit around a table and have some really deep conversations that go to some pretty incredible spaces, because you both have this incredible ability to use what Annie and I always talk about is conscious conversation. And that is the ability to be able to share something and actually listen to the other person, which is sending the good energy, which allows it to bloom even further, because there's a nice reciprocal energy exchange and energy flow. So, I've just been so blessed to be able to sit around tables with you and have these chats and go into some pretty amazing places with the thought processes, which has just been absolutely wonderful. And we're so glad that and grateful to you both for being able to come on tonight and just share a little part of what you've been doing. I'm sure everyone who's with us here tonight too would be really interested to keep up to date with what you might be offering, whether they're workshops or whether you're doing something at a festival, or, because I know you do travel around a lot and share your work. Also the Peru, if there's places available, or any others that you might do. So please keep me up to date, and because I'm very happy to share that across our network. And yes, it has been such a transformation and growth. It's just been incredible. I can remember talking to Shanay when she was making this decision about, I feel like I need to leave, and we had that really good chat between the two of us at that time, and just so inspiring watching you follow your heart, follow your instinct, follow what you know inside to be your purpose. And James, to see you come back
Can I ask, when you come back from whenever, God knows when that will be, because you're going to get lost in the mist in Scotland now.
Might be this
But
time
when
next year. It's a one-way
Yeah,
ticket.
when you come back, can you come back and tell us about your next journey?
Absolutely.
Where you've
Yeah.
gone and what you've done and what you've seen and where you've been and everything. Like
Yeah.
everything.
We would love
Definitely.
to.
Yeah. And to see you both on here, well done. Jumping on. Shanay has a beautiful natural way, and she just talks like she's talking to you, you know, when she does different things that she puts out online. James is a little more backseat. And it's so lovely to see you step in tonight, James, and share your experience as well. That's just beautiful. The energy between the two of you is just, you know, you can see it glowing. Such a beautiful connection. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you so much. We're so grateful to you for giving us this time.
Mm.
For me, it's just been fascinating. Like, I've got a gypsy soul, you know, like I'm a happy one. I've moved 52 times in my life.
Wow.
I never I don't stay at peace for very long. So to hear other people's travels and their adventures and all that, I love it. I just love it. And it makes me so excited for you that, you know, everywhere you go, it'll be, especially in Europe. Yeah, see that, Kookaburra. Mum's listening. She's up there saying, now where are you going now? And have a lovely time.
I think what's beautiful is right from the beginning, my sister on the other side claimed that she maneuvered things to put these two together. And I think, Shanay, you actually didn't meet Kathy here in the physical, but you certainly know her very well and have a connection. I'm just loving that Kookaburra Nate in the background.
Good job, Kathy. Well done.
Yeah, which is just her cheering you both on.
Yeah. She'll be with you in Scotland, toddling around. There's no kookaburras in Scotland, sadly. But I'm sure she'll find some way of letting you know that she's there. Maybe you'll get chased by a haggis.
And that's beautiful. Sophia says, leap and the universe will catch you.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
comments there. And Esther saying how much she really enjoyed listening to you both and how much you love this journey together. So, and we've had lots of, you might want to go back and have a look at chat later, because there's been lots of comments along those lines along the way, and how much everyone's appreciated it. Yeah.
Have an absolutely magical time. Enjoy your retreat. You're, of course you will, but enjoy your holiday afterwards as well. Take some time to enjoy my beautiful country.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah. And we look, and we do definitely, we're going to hold you to that. Come back and tell us all about the next year. It's going to be absolutely awesome. And please share what you're doing. We're happy to put it into our chat group and share that with everyone as well. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, and Nate saying, well done on the Seeds of Light mission, everyone, too. I've spoken with Katrina and we did it. Yeah, I know. I don't think there's any of us that didn't feel that shift at the equinox. Yeah. That energy shift was crazy. You know, we even had our beautiful bubble girl who's sitting behind the scenes saying, you know, with where she was for the equinox, that she was so light-headed right, from all the energy influx coming through that energy. And yeah, it was certainly a very good night. My guides have sort of confirmed that major shift definitely occurred. Lots of people made that shift at the equinox. And it doesn't mean that we can't expect a bit of chaos around the world as such, but we need to expect that because old systems have to fall away. So we can expect that. But yeah, it's just been incredible.
What Shanay was saying earlier too about remembering. There are so many people that are stepping into this space, and it's like they're all waking up. And it's like, we've been here before, we've done this before, we've got a mission. And there's thousands and thousands and thousands doing it. And that's what makes it so exciting, that we've found our tribe.
Yeah, yeah.
And you guys are part of it.
Yeah.
or we're part of
absolutely.
yours. It doesn't matter which
Yeah,
way
it
you go.
doesn't. Which way you go. That's right. Yeah. And Nate, thank you so much. And thank Katrina very much for passing that message on. Really appreciate sharing that with everyone tonight as well, because we had an incredible journey with everyone last week too, with lots of pre-equinox meditations and visualizing and stepping into the new world and co-creating what that looks like together, and had lots of fun last week with all of that as well. And thank you for passing on that message from Katrina. That's awesome. Well, I guess we should say goodnight to everyone, shouldn't we? Because I could waffle on and ask you questions all night.
So our next...
So we'll go on, Annie. Yep.
Our next fortnight is a readings only show. We'll have a chat to AJ and Nate between then and now to see if they're available for us to pop in. So that's what our next show is about. Please come with questions, please. It's okay saying I want a general reading, but you'll get a much better reading if you have a specific question. And if you come with like airy-fairy general stuff, there's no validation for you or us. Whereas if you come with questions, then that'll give you some validation or some direction. So I would suggest, if you can, come with questions for us, please.
Yep.
So
if we leave it open to the angels and guides to tell you whatever they want to tell you, it can go on for a while.
Sometimes you don't like it.
Yeah, they've got lots they want to say.
So everybody stay safe for the next 2 weeks. James and Shanay have the most gloriously wonderful time. Thank you.
And I'm going to hit the outro, and we'll say goodnight to everybody online. So good night, everyone. See you in a fortnight. Thank you. Thanks, James and Shanay.
Bye-bye.
And he whispers secrets in the night, mystical visions taking flight. Kerrie's got that angel glow so bright, guiding through the dark to the light. Tarot cards spread on the cosmic rug, healing power in a gentle hug. Meditation's deep like an ancient grove, finding peace through the stars above. Mind, body, spirit, soul, we rise, angel feathers falling from the sky, psychic waves in a gentle tide. Let the universe be our guide. Sound healing echoes through the air, lifted hearts with a tender care. Spiritual journeys we embark, lighting flames within the dark. Messages from angels clear and true, whispering love in all we do. Psychic development strong and wise, open path